Hello everyone, welcome back to the Scrap Zone. I'm Julie, and welcome back to my Days of December 2022 project. Today, I'm finishing off my book. We are going to document week number 4. And you're probably looking at this and going, wow, this is quite a mess you've got going on here. And yes, it is. If you are documenting 1 week at a time, my recommendation is to go through all of your photos and kind of sort them out and then format them to the sketch that you think you're going to use. I keep track of the days, and here we're going to go a little bit more than 7 days because I do want to finish my album. And I write down the days, and then I go through my handy sketchbook and I go through here and I look at how many photos I have, and that's where it helps me to frame them or to size them. This one here is a 4x3. I even did my journaling right here that I'm going to add to this page. So it really helps me stay organized. Now, it might be a little messy right now, but it does help. If you remember in last week's video, I was contemplating the need for a second album. So I've got an album here, and yes, I'm going to use a second album. And I'm finishing off this album here on day 18. Now, I could have added a little bit more in here, but then you have this going on, and I'm not a fan of that. So I just bit the bullet. I went ahead, I ordered myself another album, and I think that that's going to allow me to add a little bit more to them. I'm thinking that I want to add some pockets here, and I'm going to keep all of my Christmas cards in these albums. Now, had I gone just a little bit over, I would have stayed with the one book, but we're definitely going to need 2 albums to document 2022. Okay, so let's talk about my foundation page, which is going to be day 22. And basically the only thing I have to do here is to trim down the photo. I'm going to sneak it in back of this one right here, this sticker. And that would be on page 17. I modified it a little bit, and if you watch the earlier videos, you can see the entire process for that. So we're going to add our photo, and when I do anything without a photo, I like to use 3D foam tape, and then I don't really take the backing off so that I can slide my photo into place, just like so. And then I can pop my 2 little numbers here. I think I'm going to use thin 3D foam dots for this one right here. I'm going to adhere this right quick. And we're going to talk about day 23 and 24, how that came about. So we're going to pop this right here. I'm going to lift this up. Let's just adhere this one directly on the page. And then I'm just using thin 3D foam tape. And I am going to tuck this one right beside. Oh, I think I want it a little bit more over. There we go. So that is fun when you come across a page that's already done, already decorated. I just had to add my photos. I'm going to add a little bit of distressing right here. And then we're going to move to day 23 and 24. So let's talk about day 23 and 24. And of course, I changed them up a tiny little bit. And I also repeated the same sketch. The sketch that I use can be found on page 14. And this sketch right here, when I was testing out my stitching, I actually cut out a few pieces and I did that gold stitching, and I thought, okay, well, let's not waste that and let's use it. And we had a very big storm on the 23rd of December. My snowman came down like bowling pins. It was so windy and so crazy. Amongst all of that storm, and it was pretty bad, little baby Finn came into the world. Isn't he sweet? So I thought definitely he needed to go on my page right here. And then I decided to repeat the pattern here on this side because I really did like it. So this is the journaling that's going to go at the place of the photo. And then I have one photo here. And once I adhere all of this down, I'm going to make sure that I line up these two photos at the back. And I'm going to have this really great photo here of my two kids kind of comparing the size of their presents, and I thought that that was really cute. I found this in my stash and I thought that it was perfect for this layout, so I'm going to add this on my flip flap. Okay, so I've pulled out volume 2, and I think this is a good page to start volume 2. I'm not sure yet. I might have to bring one more in, but for now, I think that this is a good starting point. And then I've just snuck this right here at the back. And I know that I want to add one more photo and the story. So I'm going to go ahead here, peel that back. And we're going to add this right here. Just want to make sure everything is nice and down. And then I am just going to adhere this. Just like so. Just going to push that in with my fingers, and I've got my story for day 23. This here for Christmas Eve. I'm going to add it in here, just like so. So this is for day 24, and the reason why this ended up on a page protector is because of the sketch that I used. Now I wanted to have the sketch repeat itself twice, only because I kind of like the way that that was flowing into the album, but when I tried to crop these down into this other orientation, I was really kind of chopping off all of the story behind the photo. So I decided to fix that. So this looks good because you've got the same background on these two pages, and then the add-on of the flip-flap here actually, I think, looks really, really great. So I'm going to place that right here on the front. And I like that I was able to put my day 24 as like a pull tab. Okay, so let me move the book out of the way. And I am going to add this one right on top, just like so. I'm going to flip that over, and I'm going to burnish that in with my fingers. And I really like using flip-flops as a solution to bring in more photos, especially for New Year's Eve, right? So this is going to be inside the book, and we're going to have a flip-flap here, and then you have another flip-flap right here. So I'm going to close this off, and we are going to work on day 25. Let's take a look at my day 25, which is Christmas Day, of course. And this is going to be a double page inside the book. And I had forgotten to print this photo. I did want to document a few memories about this day, and I used a die, but I had to extend it because it wasn't long enough. I had a little bit more that I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to try and sneak this here on the side. It might have to go underneath the photo. I'm going to add a little bit of sage color on this page, and this is actually a Picture My Life card. There's a little bit of the tree that's showing here, but that's okay. I'll cut this here and I'll bring that down, and this will hide all of that. So I'm going to add one piece here, and then I'm going to bring some sprigs in gold and in sage. I really like the softness that it brings to this page, and as you can see here, I've cut a whole bunch out. I did stamp my 25 and did the embossing, and I layered it up, and then I pulled this one out, and I thought, oh, how perfect. So that's going to look really good, and it's going to hide, you know, like some, I call it dead space on a photo. I'm going to put that right here. And then to finish it all off, I'm going to add a little bit of glitter. I wanted to add a ribbon on top with the gold. I just feel that I need to glam this up because it is Christmas Day. I did look at this one right here because I thought, oh, this would be really, really nice. But when I added this to the photo, I felt that because it was competing with the red in the photo, it really wasn't substantial enough. So this one here fits the bill. I'm going to add a few sprigs here and there, and we are going to document day 25. Okay, so let's take a look at where I'm at in the process right now. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not, but my 2 pages here for Christmas can be found on page 20. And I flipped things around a little bit and adjusted them to suit my photos and my journaling because I had quite a bit of that. And at the beginning, I thought I was going to stick to one book, and this was going to be back to front. And then I decided to add a second book, and it's like, well, then let's just add more photos. So I will definitely have to print out more photos for Christmas right here, and I'm completely okay with that. And I'm going to continue the look and feel. I kept on working on my pages. This one right here is a really special page, and this is actually our Christmas card from my mother-in-law. So Grandma, you'll see right here. Mom, Grandma, and Diane. So she wears a lot of hats. And I thought that it would be really nice to document her card and to keep her handwriting in this book. And this is a great picture of her with the kids. So I created a pocket with her card. And I'm just going to add the photo right here inside. And that is it. I added 26, even though it was taken on the 27th. I'm going to call this story 26, and then I'm going to move on to this page right here. And finally, we get to this page in my days of December documenting, and I still love it. I wanted to add these photos in this type of page protector here, and this one here in particular is divided into 4s. And originally I thought this was going to be super simple. I was going to have my 4 photos. But I also wanted to document, to go in line with this page here, what have you done this year? So I did go ahead, I cut down my photos, so I trimmed them down by like a 1/16 of an inch, and they are all going to have a backside to them so that we can add the story. So this one here goes on top. I put the pull tab here at the top because I feel that it's easier to grab. And then you've got this one here. The story is going to be on the back, and I'll probably just add another picture here or something else. And then when you open this one, you get to pull this one out. So this is kind of like a Tetris puzzle if you want. Definitely felt like that when I was putting it together. The last one that goes on is this one right here. So let me move this out of the way. So before I adhere this down, let's talk about some of the details. So these little pull tabs are from this set right here. So they are tabs, and I will list them down below just in case you don't have them in your stash. And originally I wanted to do them in white and stamp in red, and then I thought I would introduce red. I felt that it really went with these kind of funny pictures. One thing that I did, because you'll see it's definitely kind of like a little Tetris puzzle, I did trim this down and I did angle off my little flap here, and I brought this down all the way to the sticky part. I just cut that down, and I'm going to add this on the page protector. And when I added it on the page protector, I'm actually going to slide it over as far as I can without interfering with this little hole, so that when it's down, this is the first one that's going to open, and then we'll have room to pull this one out, and then this one will open, and then we'll have room to pull this one out. As far as adhering these to the page protector, I am using red line tape, and I don't know if you've noticed here, but I did add some little staples, but you don't see them on the back. So I actually staple that before closing it off. That way you don't have the staples at the back and it catches on things. So I'm going to do the same for this one here. I am going to add my red line tape. So for the tabs, I actually cut them out on the light side of candy apple, and then I sanded the edges, and I felt that I needed a little bit more white. So I just added some white gloss spray to them, let them dry, and that's the look that I got for them. Now to add my little staples, I'm going to peel back on the backing, because it is a plastic backing and sometimes it just interferes with the staples. Ask me how I know. This is not the first time that I do this one. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to do kind of like a pretend staple if you want. I think that it looks neat. It's a nice little detail. And if you do it before you close this, you don't have the messy part. Like you don't have this messy part. So this one here is going to go right at the bottom of the flip flap. So I'm just going to line this up. I like this one here because it's got this nice little square edge and it makes it really easy to line things up. And then I'm just going to close that off. And then I'm just going to close that off on my page protector. I'm going to push it in with my bone folder just a tiny little bit, just to make sure everything is nice and tacked down. And then it's a case of adding this in. I'm going as far up as I can and as close as I can to the edge of the pocket page right here. This way, everything hopefully is going to open. It's one of those pages that I had an idea of what I wanted to do, and probably would have been a lot easier if these little sections would open from the top, but they do not. So I had to find a way to make this work. I want to try and make it as straight as possible. And then I'm going to flip that open. Okay, so although this looks like a really simple page, I really had to think about how all of this worked in order for all of these pictures to have a backside so that I could record the story. So it's going to start up this way, and then you can pull this one out and you have space for your story back here. This one goes up and then this one pulls out. All right, so we're moving right along here to story 30, which is this sketch right here. And you can find that on page 15 of the sketchbook. And you can see that I've modified it slightly. So the photo at the bottom was changed to a 3x4. And I think that that fits in really, really nicely. So I'm going to adhere this right quick. I'm going to add this piece here, but before I do that, I'm going to ink distress just a few pieces just so that they stand out a little bit more. So this was one of the pieces that I cut out for my day 25, and I can use it on this page here because I just decided to go with all of the greens. I did add the sage color to this page, and I find that it looks really nice and it brightens up that paper that I have at the back. So I'm going to add the pennants here. So this one here is in mink, and then this one here is in pine. I did go ahead and I sanded those so you can see that they've been sand distressed. And then I'm going to add my little cluster, my day 30, and just like that, we are done. So I'm going to add a couple of gems here. So these are gold glitter gems. I'm going to add them to the top of the pennant. And if you have a chance to see Come Far From Away, I highly recommend it. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to click the like button. Give it a big thumbs up. And you might also want to subscribe to this channel and see more crafty projects. Okay, so let's talk about my last page, and I'm super excited about this one. This is actually a class that I taught in the Creative Design Team Facebook group, and it was a double page layout, and I thought I would kind of shrink it all down and use the best picture and use it in this book. And I really like the way that this turned out. Now it's going to go right here at the back, right after this one. And I'm going to try again to do a shaker page. I'm going to apply some of my lessons learned. I am definitely going to use thin 3D foam tape, so the one that is not really thick, because I'm not going to, this is going to be inside a page protector at the end of the book. And I'm going to just use little beads. So I've curated a whole bunch of them that look very much like the other page that I did, but they're just kind of smaller. And with this page, the fun thing is that it's not going to be a see-through page. It's going to be a shaker, and it's going to have a background, and the background is going to be white so that these really show up. And I know that they're probably going to end up falling at the bottom. So I'm going to try and, like, this is really, really narrow. I'm going to add it as close as I can to the edge right here. Okey-doke. We're going to line this up. Okay, so this is all lined up. And I don't think it's going to be too thick. Let's give it a little test. Let's test it in this book right here, right now, before I get ahead of myself. Ooh. It's snug, but it fits. I just have to push it all the way. Like, even this is actually really, really pretty. So it's going to work. Yay! All right. Okay, so you know what they say, where there's a will, there's a way. And I really do feel that if I put all of these tiny little beads in here, they're all going to end up at the bottom. And I'm not going to get the look that I'm going for. Now, this, you know, hindsight 2020, had I made the circles a little bit smaller, I wouldn't have to fuss with this. Because I'm using micro tip scissors, I can actually cut lengthwise on this piece of foam, which is, you know, a little bit of tedious work, but I think it's going to be totally worth it. So if you plan on doing a page something like this, I would recommend having these little circles here a little bit further apart so that you don't have to do this tedious work. But I also feel that it's going to be worth it in the long run. I'm going to peel off the centers, and I'm just going to expose these ones here only because I'm going to need some wiggle room, and I found that this was really helpful when you peel back, and then you can just add your cardstock or whatever it is that you are trying to add. Okay, let me see here. We're going to do a test run. Okay, the moment of truth. Let's add some of these in here. Let's pop this on. I'm going to slide this off. And seal them in. So yes, nothing is falling out. And by adding those little strips in between the circles, I have all of them throughout the page. Otherwise, they would have like fallen all the way at the bottom. So I'm pretty happy about that. I am going to add my photo. Look how fun that is. And then the welcome 2023. That is so fun. So fun. Okie doke. I'm going to adhere these pieces down. And we are going to call this good. I'm going to use liquid glass because I'm adhering onto acetate, and I do find that liquid glass really stays on. I guess I could use red line tape as well. So I want to line this up. So this is going to go right here. Let's take a look at this shaker page. Well, I would say that this is a success. This page is really lots of fun. I love the shake of it. I love that I was able to create this one that's going to go inside a page protector, and you will see why when I do my full album recap. So basically, I'm going to line these two up, and I am going to add them in this page protector. And I'm going to put them the right way. Let's flip that over. I'm going to slide those in. Now they are snug, but they do fit. So that is always a good thing. I'm going to slide that in. And that completes my book. Let's bring that book back. Let's bring this page in, this one, and this one, and that completes the book. And you can tell that it's already thick, but I'm going to have right here a pocket that's going to hold other things in this book. So let's take a look at week number 4 and the completion of this book. So this one here was in volume 1. I decided to put it here in volume 2 because I think that it's a nice page for the second album. And then we did our day 23 and then 24, adapted the sketch to suit the photos. And then Christmas Day, you can see here that it's a double page spread. And you know what? The fact that I have 2 albums right now, I didn't feel bad adding more into it. So I was able to add this additional page right here and this card here for day 26 with the photo. I really like that idea to preserve memories and handwriting. That's always a thing. And then this is our first shaker page that is transparent. And you've got like all sorts of shakes in here, and they're quite bigger. Like I've got some sequins in here. And then let's not forget, I'm going to call this my Tetris page, because you really need to open this in sequence in order to see all of what's going on this page. So one thing that I need to finish in this album is I'll probably interview them because it'll probably get done that way. But so this is Christmas, and what have you done? Another year over and another just begun. So what have you done in 2022 and what do you expect to do in 2023? So that's going to go in back here and in back of this one right here. So that still remains to be done, but that's okay. You know, it's a work in progress. And then we have here day 28 and 29, and then we've got our day 30 here. which is really pretty and different. And let's not forget this shaker page right here. So again, this is an example of some of the classes that we teach at the Creative Design team, and I've adapted it to fit my small 6x8, but the class on this was a double page 12x12. So everything that we do is completely adaptable, and I really like the way that it finishes off my book. If you've enjoyed this video and found some inspiration for your days of December documenting, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up, and I will see you next week for the complete project reveal, which is going to consist of Volume 2 here and Volume 1. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I truly appreciate it. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.